Hello, guys. Hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career and make a better version of themselves. And I'm back with one of my students' interview who has recently cleared the SCR April 2024 exam. And he's going to be talking to us about his journey of preparation and what challenges he faced and how he managed to clear the exam. So, Vamsy, thank you very much for taking out time and talking to us. And for the audience, if you could give a brief about yourself.
Thank you, Ganesh sir. Hello, everyone. My name is Vamsy Sastry. I basically run a firm called D-Risk Consultants. It operates in the risk advisory space, and I have been in the risk analytics / risk advisory industry for the last 12, 13 years as such. My area of expertise traditionally has been in credit risk management, model risk, model governance, capital optimization, ICAP, and stress testing. But recently, given the global trends, I wanted to explore climate risk management as well. And that's where SCR comes in, and my journey with Ganesh sir also comes in from that desire to learn more.
So when did you registered for SCR? Which month?
I think it was the mid of April that I had registered for SCR, and the exam date that I had chosen was the 22nd of May.
So you registered very late. You didn't register in the early bird
Correct.
part. Oh,
Correct.
okay. But you thought that I'll start the preparation beforehand.
Absolutely.
Okay. So and when did you started with us? Which month?
That would be towards the end of April.
No, you gave the exam in April 2024, na?
No, I gave the exam on May 22nd. Oh, apologies. My bad. My bad. I kind of got mixed up with the dates. So it was the end of March that I had enrolled, and April
Right.
22nd was the exam date.
Right. That's what I thought you got confused with FRM and all of
I
that.
did. I did. I had the FRM exams
Right.
as well.
So basically you joined us by the mid of March or something like that.
That's correct. Yes.
So, and before that, you had done any reading of on your own with respect to the GAR book?
I had given it a preliminary read. I wouldn't say it was in depth in nature,
Okay.
but yes, I had given it a slight bit of read, though I wouldn't say it was adding to the exam preparation in any way.
Okay. But you had a quant background,
That
right?
is correct.
And
Yes,
if you look at the content, it is more theoretical.
that's correct.
So, did you face any challenge while going through the content? I mean, in terms of reading the material?
Yes. So that's one of my first impressions that I got from the exam. That
Mhm.
basically the coursework is extremely theoretical. Without targeted notes, without understanding what are the key points within each reading, it's very difficult to go through it within the amount of time that I had. And
Mhm.
the second part is the content. In a lot of places, the SCR exam doesn't test you specifically on rote memorization of content. It looks
Mhm.
at application of that as such. So that's an extremely important part, which either can be achieved by tremendous amounts of work being put in terms of hours of study,
Mhm.
or it can only be achieved if you have like really good guidance.
Okay. Okay. And then when you started with us, what was the flow of preparation or how much time you were giving every single day?
Yes. So when it comes to the preparation time as such, given that I had limited amount at my hands, the first thing which I looked at was what GARP originally suggested. So mostly in online portals, GARP says 100 hours of preparation is enough.
Right.
So my original plan of study was approximately going with that only. So
Mhm.
I had allocated 3 hours or 2 hours every single day, starting from the end of, or let's say the mid of March till the exam date, and
Okay.
I was judicially following that setup. There was nowhere or
Okay.
no days that I was basically missing it.
Okay. And even on weekends, you were putting that same number of hours.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. And then when did you complete your full reading of the content once?
So I think towards the so my exam date was on 22nd of April, and by the first April I had completed a complete reading of the book. This
Okay.
basically includes looking at the original videos, which were pre-recorded, and
Mhm.
also solving some. I think there were 4 or 5 question sets per chapter, so
Right.
I had completed at least two from each. and
Okay.
I was consistently scoring around 60 to 70% across the board.
Okay. And you also solved mock papers. Did you get time to solve that?
Not in my first reading, because for the first reading, I think on the first week of April when I finished it, I had appeared for the first mock exam. My
Mhm.
performance
Okay.
was extremely poor. That's how I'd put it. But the reason for that was because I was not accustomed to sitting for 3 hours at one go and
Ha.
solving a paper, and that takes a toll. And subsequently, across the other mock tests, my performance consistently improved.
This point of consistently sitting for 3 hours, a lot of working professionals, they might know the concept, but you have to take a decision again in that 2 minutes and move to the next question. That pressure plus continuously sitting, that creates a challenge for a lot of people. So that is very true, and that is why you should definitely solve one or two mocks to get the idea about the exam. So you solved all of my mocks or one or two?
I think I solved three of them. I left one. I was intending to do it, but then I think I fell sick just a few days before the exam, courtesy some anxiety.
Okay, okay,
But
okay.
I think I solved three.
And what was the score you were getting out of 80?
So the first one, I think I was getting the first exam. I ended up getting 40%, and subsequent ones, I think it was around 60 and 80%.
Okay, okay. And then did you solve the GARP mock paper also? Sample
Uh,
one?
the, the dark mod paper, I had given it a stab, but I don't remember my marks on it because it was
Okay,
purely just to see how the questions looked like.
okay, okay. And on the day of the exam, so did you basically what happened in that first half an hour?
Right. So, first things first, GARP examinations, and I had scheduled it in a Pearson's VUE center in Hyderabad.
Hmm.
One big piece of advice to anyone attending: please just carry your admit cards and verification documents, and make sure that your name is exactly as it is on the verification document. My name happens to be pretty large. It's Sonti Vamsy Krishna Shastri, and there were few words jumbled here and there between the passport and this, so that involved some bit of help from the GAP center. But
Okay,
everything else that I was carrying, ranging from the watch to basically any kind of bracelets or necklaces or jewelry or anything that you're wearing, everything gets put into the locker. You're not allowed to read notes within the exam location, and it already is something which might cause an extra bit of stress if you're not already prepared for it. So plan for it in
okay,
advance. But in the first 30 minutes, once the center was set up and all the formalities were completed, you were given your scratch pads. There is always a level of anxiety which goes in because you have prepared for it for so long, you have invested so much time in it, and this is the big day. So that nerves are
right.
always there. But for the first, I think for the first 5 or 10 minutes, I just skimmed through the entire examination as such.
Hmm.
I saw what the questions were there, how many of them were verbose, how many of them were quant based, how many of them
Okay,
were easily something that I could get. So it kind of calmed me down a bit because it made me realize that this wasn't beyond me as such, and this was something that I had prepared
okay,
for. And
okay,
that gave me a lot of confidence. And after that, I think it was just breaking the entire examination to smaller chunks and then attacking each question one by one.
okay. And so you were able to solve all the 80 questions in that 3 hour time frame
No,
properly?
no, 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 no. So
Okay,
there is an option which allows you to review questions. So I think if I remember correctly, out of those 80, there were 16 that I had doubts on. Uh,
okay,
and these were questions because the difficulty in GAP exam is not traditionally in the concepts. It's basically two or three concepts coming in together in a question which is like a case study.
yeah, right,
So, where you have to put yourself in the position of a risk manager or a CRO and take a decision as to what is in the best interest of your bank with regards to that particular problem. So,
okay,
multiple options can come out as correct. And I think this was a common theme that I noted in the exam, that multiple options looked like they were correct and you had to take an educated guess. And
right.
that's where your suggestion helped me out, that you should start eliminating possibilities so that you end up with one option that makes the most sense and then you stick with it.
Okay, okay. And how many calculations did you found in the exam, if you remember the
Uh,
number?
not many. It was, see, I think less than 10%. These basically, so I won't call, so most of them won't even qualify as a calculation because those were numbers that you could easily crunch on your hand. So it's just
Right.
basic addition or subtraction, let's say, like for carbon credits or something else. But there were a few questions with regards to the carbon intensity computation that came in that required the use of an on screen calculator. But that also was not a very difficult formula to memorize or something. It's basically a
Okay.
proportion.
Okay. And overall, so out of that theory question, so roughly around say 70 questions were theory. What was your confidence level in those theory questions?
So across the theory questions, bulk of the questions that I had stored for review, I think 60% of them were entirely on theory, 60 to 70%, I believe. Most of these questions were basically the ones where multiple options appeared right to me. I think that was where I was kind of getting confused. And specifically on the governance side of things, governance and sustainability to be specific, there was a fair bit of ambiguity with regards to what was exactly right because it's one of those things where you know that this is the right way to approach or think about an answer, but at that point of time, because of the nerves or let's say anxiety or the exam pressure, it seems like maybe there is a slight doubt that this might be also correct, but thankfully most of them turned out to be right.
Okay, wonderful. And while preparing for the exam, did you find chapter number 6 and 7 tough? Because I'm asking you specifically because you have some background of modeling. So,
So, no, I wouldn't say they
okay.
came out to be tough because a lot of, because firstly, the way it was taught,
Hmm.
I think it was the right amount of balance between being technical and being to the point. Because these concepts, specifically 6 and 7, these chapters, they can go as deep as the subject trainer or the book wants to go to, because
Okay.
it's not an easy concept to cover in the time or the place that GARP has allocated in SCR. It's significantly deep. But the way it was taught, and more importantly, the way I had prepared, where I had first looked at the recorded videos and then the live classroom sessions as a revision. So that gave me a lot of confidence with regards to even the modeling aspects of it, which of course I could skim through a little bit because of my background. But
Right.
to be brutally specific, there wasn't something in these sections that I basically found to be extraordinarily difficult.
Okay. Okay. And now when the results are out and you've cleared the exam, so if I ask you, if somebody comes to you and asks, say that, how should I prepare for SCR exam? What should be your three advice for him?
Right. So to be brutally, again, to be completely concise on this, this exam is more for getting the understanding of the topic right, and also learning how to apply that in a real world situation, because that is what the exam tests.
Hmm.
So my first advice is, if you are looking at it purely as a study of 250 or 300 or 400 pages, then that's not the way to go about the exam. You will need targeted advice, guidance, notes, so that you realize what is the theme behind what has been written. And the second advice basically is that you need to allocate significant amount of time to question solving, because
Yes.
having that practice is extremely important. How these concepts are getting tested, uh, I can guarantee that the questions which are provided at the chapter's end in GARB books are extremely easy as compared to what came in the exam.
Right.
So, and the only way to get that level of net practice is by solving questions. And the last part, of course, which I said, or which I highly recommend to everybody, is the course notes that had been shared with me during the course. Those became a lifesaver because because the chapters don't have a logical link or continuation from one chapter to another, so you can't read it at
Correct.
one go. So having dedicated notes allows you to even, let's say, focus on what exactly is required from each topic, simply because there is so much information available in each of those chapters that
Right.
if you don't know where to focus on, you'll be lost.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful, Vamsi. I mean, this conversation and the way you have prepared, you prepared very late, like in the month of March. So a lot of people who started in Feb itself, or they started out in Feb, March start itself, but you started out late. You were able to manage the time and that consistency for that 1.5 month, and able to give your best shot on the day of the exam also. So that is definitely going to be motivating for a lot of students who are going to prepare in the future for this exam. And I'm sure this certification will help you in your career, and also other new people will join in. So thank you very much for taking out time.
Thanks a lot, sir. Once again, I would highly recommend the course to anybody who is looking on SCR to take up this course, simply because doing this journey on your own is, of course, possible, but it's extremely easy, simpler, and a lot more painless if we go through it with Fintelligence. So that's highly
Thank you.
recommended from my side.
Thank you. Thank you.